There's a specific kind of disappointment that only comes after finishing something that never really needed to exist in the first place. Not because it's shocking, not because it fails to meet expectations, but because it makes you look back and ask, why did this story need to be revisited at all? And that's exactly where The Strangers Chapter 3 lands. When Bryan Bertino's underrated horror gem, The Strangers, first came out in 2008, it worked because of what it didn't do. It didn't explain, it didn't expand, it didn't try to build a mythology. It just gave you something simple and deeply unsettling random violence with no reason behind it. Even its more underrated sequel, The Strangers Prey at Night in 2018, understood that. It changed the style and made things more kinetic and stylized, but it still didn't over explain the premise. Together, those two films felt like a completed duology, perfect exactly as they were. This trilogy doesn't. From the beginning, stretching this concept into three films felt like a mistake. And if after both of the first two you've still somehow made it all the way through Chapter 3, that mistake becomes impossible to ignore. Make no mistake from the Chapter 1, 2, and 3 titling, this wasn't a story that evolved over three films. It's a story that just repeated itself over and over. Because what you're really watching isn't three distinct movies, it's one overextended narrative that probably should have been half as long. And the longer it went, the less effective it became. The one consistent bright spot across all three films is Madelaine Petsch. She plays the lead character Maya with a level of sincerity that the material doesn't always earn. There's a sense of endurance in her performance, like she's not just reacting to the horror, but carrying it with her. In a better version of this story, that could have been the emotional backbone of something meaningful. Here, it just feels like she's stuck in a loop that the script can't escape. Director Renny Harlin, once famous in the world of franchise horror for 1988's A Nightmare on Elm Street 4: The Dream Master, feels strangely unsure of what this trilogy is supposed to be. The tone swings between serious horror and stylized moments, but never fully commits to either. And because of that, the violence just doesn't land the way it should. It's not shocking or cathartic, it's just expected. The biggest issue is that the trilogy fundamentally misunderstands what made The Strangers work. The original film was terrifying because of its absence of answers. Because You Were Home wasn't just an iconic line, it was the entire point of the film. But this trilogy tries to add meaning. It tries to stretch the idea, explain it, and build around it, and in doing that, it actually strips the story of its power. What was once unsettling becomes empty. There's also a sense that this third film is constantly circling itself, revisiting the same ideas, repeating the same beats, and never deepening them. By the end, instead of any meaningful conclusion, it just feels like the story is finally, mercifully just stopped. Renny Harlin's The Strangers trilogy wasn't just bad, it was blatantly unnecessary, which is something I rarely say about any work of art, subjective as it is. It's a reminder that not every story benefits from being expanded. Some ideas are powerful because they're simple, because they leave space for the unknown, and because they end before they wear out their welcome. This trilogy does the opposite. In trying to say more, it makes it abundantly clear that it had nothing to say at all. So let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy Renny Harlin's The Strangers trilogy? Should The Strangers have stayed a duology? If you enjoyed this review, subscribe to Fandom Frontline for more deep dives into film, TV, gaming, and all of the stories driving fandom.